Hey there, boys and girls, and welcome to episode 150 of Sonic Boom TV. Made it to 150 episodes. I don't think I have 150 subscribers. I barely have 150 likes on these things. I presume. Not many people leave likes, and I don't get a ton of views either. But whatever. I'm on 150. Where are you guys? Right. So let's talk about, is Record Store Day a good thing? Well, the plain and simple answer for me, personally, is yes. It's a very, very good thing. As you can see, I've put my purchases for this year up. Joe Strummer and the Mescalero, Street Core, Generation X, Mr. Big, the Donnas, early singles, 1995 to 99, Pearl Jam Give Way, the Verve Pipe, Under the Christmas Lights here, the Villains, Gun Club live at the Hacienda 84. That is from last year's Black Friday, but I bought it on Record Store Day. And this one is Scott Weiland's 12 Bar Blues. I have not opened that because I bought that for my friend who didn't get to go yesterday, and she asked me for that if I could get it for her, and she was going to pay me, but I decided it was a gift. And so she will be getting that this week, hopefully. So anyway, is Record Store Day a good thing? Well, yes. There are issues that you could bring up, but a lot of them don't have anything to do with Record Store Day. Now, people are like, oh, they're overpriced. Oh, I don't want to stand in line. Oh, they cost too much. Oh, the flippers are doing whatever. Well, let's start with, if you have to stand in line. Come on, guys. You stand in line for a couple hours. You may or may not get what you want. That's the problem right there. But I'll get to that later. But standing in line is not a big deal. It's not like you're waiting for an oil change or something where you just want to get the heck out of there. You're standing in line with other people that want to talk about music and love music, are there for music. And unless they're a flipper, you're going to find somebody to talk to. And every time I've gone, I've talked to random people about things and, about music I don't even know about. And sometimes it's like, well, maybe I need to go home and look that up. Yesterday there was these two guys. Well, one guy was mostly talking, but it was two people there. And they were into hip-hop and stuff that I'm not really into. But I knew some of the stuff that they were talking about and what they wanted. And he talked about how his grandfather let him have a collection that almost got destroyed in a hurricane and different things. And, it was just like really cool. And so, I didn't become friends with the people, but, at the end, once they got through and I got through, I saw them by the register and I asked them if they found what they wanted. And they said they found everything they wanted, both of them. So they only had 3 or 4 things each, maybe, but they found what they wanted. So that was great. Not everybody's going to find everything they want, and we'll get to that. The other thing is the prices are too high. The prices are comparable to what you'd buy a regular record. If you go to a record store any day of the week and you walk in there, let's say this Joe Strummer one was $29.99. You can't even find a record most of the time for $29.99. They're mostly over $30 at this point. This Generation X was $28.99. This Mr. Big was $36.99. That is kind of the new norm. And it is expensive. It has nothing to do with Record Store Day, though. It has to do with the record industry jacking up prices for reasons that may or may not be true. I don't think there's a vinyl shortage. I don't think there's that much of a backup. I mean, I know there are a few plants that make records around the world, and I think they're afraid to open more plants and build them because they think the records are not going to stay popular. And maybe we'll see in the next couple of years whether that's true or not, whether people keep buying and buying. Because I think if it gets to be enough, they're going to have to do something to catch up to the amount of stuff they want to put out. There are people that as if I don't know if you guys know who Chris Profi is, but he said exactly what I was thinking on some of the things, that there are people out there that have collected records for a long time, and they started back when they were kids in the 70s, 80s, maybe even the 60s, and it became their thing, and records went away and they kept collecting, and then it was really their thing. There was nobody from the outside coming in to buy records. They could go to the store and get what they wanted because nobody else was buying it, and anything that was rare, they could get it because there was nobody waiting in line. And again, that has nothing to do with Record Store Day. Record Store Day is providing records to a wider audience that they deserve. People deserve to get into this if they want to. It shouldn't be this little collective of people that, oh, we're the super group of, nerds or whatever that love, records, and nobody else should be able to get in. Well, I've always been like part of those people, but not part of that group, because I don't care if anybody wants to come in and buy records. That's great to me, because I'd rather there be more records come out. The same thing with CDs or whatever. Comic books is another thing I collect. It's like, yeah, I love having that comic book or whatever that nobody knew about, but I would rather it keep coming out, because if it stays rare and whatever, it goes away after a while. They cannot pay to keep going, in a lot of cases. So besides that, I think I touched on everything. Record Store Day puts out a lot of things for a lot of people. I think there were 300 releases this time. That's a lot to put out, but they were in all different genres. You could jazz, heavy metal, country, progressive rock, punk rock, alternative rock, things like that, and it's a wide net of things, and it allows people of all different tastes to come together on one day, or 2 days really, if they do Black Friday every year. I'm not sure. I think they do, but it allows all these people to come together, and they get a chance to talk about music, just even if it's just for a few minutes, that they may not know about, or they get to see somebody else's opinion of something, and generally it's pretty civil. Nobody's arguing like they do with politics and all this other stuff. They just say, oh man, that's cool, whatever. Somebody says, oh yeah, I like, MF Doom. I don't know too much about MF Doom, but I recognize the album covers a lot of times, mostly because of Record Store Day, that he puts out something every time. But I can kind of, listen to what they think about that, and maybe I'll go home and watch a video or something on YouTube. There goes my dog coughing. So anyway, you get things like, let's say the Mr. Big, that hasn't been out on vinyl in, probably 30 years or so, maybe never. And then you get this, the Verve Pipe, which was never put on vinyl ever before. So they provide you with that, even though it's stuff that used to be popular or whatever, or reissues or whatever the case may be. They put it out for you, and it's a lot of times it's like so unexpected, and people are like, oh, there's nothing for me on there. Are you really looking at anything, or do you just like a certain kind of music? Because if you don't expand what you like, of course there's not going to be anything. If you're the guy that's like, oh, I only like, black metal or whatever, well, of course there's not going to be many black metal, if any, But if you say, oh, I like black metal, I like regular heavy metal, I like glam, I like punk rock, well, then all of a sudden you open up a whole bunch of different things you got options for. Now, if you've already got the original, yeah, you don't need this. But if you don't, like Generation X, that's been out since the 70s, I guess. I don't have it. So that's a perfect thing for me to get. And so it's just, there's a lot of negativity online about it on Facebook. That's why I quit most of the Facebook music groups I was in. There's only one that I'm in now, and it pushes my buttons a lot of times, the way people act. There's a difference between a joke and being a jerk. And I joke with people, and sometimes they don't take it right, and I just don't further the conversation. When they say things like vinyls, or they spell vinyls wrong, even though vinyls is not a word. That's the only thing I really kind of joke with people about, because it's silly. I don't know why people say it. I just, it doesn't really bother me, to my core like some people. But I just like to poke the bear a little bit on that. But that's about it. I don't go like, if somebody says, "Oh, I bought this reissue of this." "Oh, well, I got the original. It's not as good." It's just as good. Who's to say that the original was perfect to begin with? So I'm on a rant now a little bit here, but Record Store Day provides a lot of things. The problem is the flippers. That's what I wanted to get to. I missed. The flippers go out and buy stuff, and they buy everything they can, and a lot of the stores have cut it to where you can only get one copy. But that doesn't stop them, because they'll just have 3 or 4 people come with them. So you got your husband, your wife, and maybe your kid, something like that, come with you, or a friend or whoever. And you're all buying the same record, but the only intent is to put it on eBay and sell it for triple the price. It's ridiculous how much some of these things cost. Like, I was looking up the Soul Asylum, which was $36 where I got it this morning. And there were people selling it for over $100 on eBay. It's rare, but it's not that rare if you could eliminate the flippers from the equation, which you'll never be able to do, I don't think, anyway. But if just the normal people that wanted it, most of them would get it, and that would be that. It would not be this false scarcity. It would not be this false, where the price rises. And once it sells for that much money, that becomes what it's worth, until somebody decides that they're going to sell it for cheaper. But they're not, because if it says it's on Discogs and it says it's a $120 record, if somebody's got it at home and they want to sell it, they're not selling it for $50, unless they can't get rid of it. But it's going to keep that value or close to it for a long time. And who knows? And people have told me, "Oh, that record's not worth anything." Well, go try to find certain things and see if you can find it for less. Unless you can find it in a store. If you can find it still in a store somewhere, they may sell it for what's the legit price that they had it for. But if they get it back in a year, they might jack the price up as well, because they know it's rare at that point. So the flippers ruin everything. Now, the way I could see that they can combat that a little bit is not have these. It's okay to have limited editions. I don't mind that. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. But if you're going to have limited editions, do something like the Donnas here. This is only 2,000 copies. Now, this is on Real Gone Music. The Donnas album will come out later. This one is, I don't remember if it was, it's gold vinyl. This is gold vinyl. So, sorry. So the Donnas album will come out later as another release. Probably have more than 2,000 copies. It'll be a different color though. It'll have, the record itself will probably be black, or maybe it'll be pink, or something else, or white, or whatever. They'll put another one out, and it'll probably have more than 2,000 copies. Real Gone Music is real good about that. When they put things out for Record Store Day, is to re-release it. And so there are some things that are exclusive to Record Store Day, and if they're going to make something exclusive to Record Store Day, they should make more of them. Because if you've got, a semi-popular band, not everybody's going to want to buy records. You got to figure out how many people are buying records. So let's just say, I think 5,000 is a good number for a lot of things right now. It might be more later. But if you put 5,000 out, that means almost everybody that wants it is really going to get it. Then the flippers are not going to be able to sell it for 3 or 4 times the cost, because the people who really want it got it, And this thing where they do, all stores don't get the same amount, and that's based, I think, on the sales estimates of these stores. Because if you've got a store in New York City that has 1 million customers, well, yeah, they're going to need more copies of certain things. But if you're in a small town like you're down here in Louisiana, you might not need as many things, and so you might only need 1 or 2 copies as opposed to 10 or 15 copies, or more, whatever. So I think Record Store Day could work on that kind of thing where the exclusive things are only exclusive as far as like a color or some kind of insert or something, but the music itself should be able to be gotten later. I think that would work. Like I don't mind. I mean, I want to get the exclusive one. I want to try to get it. But if I'm gonna I almost didn't get this because I knew it was gonna come out. It just worked out that the money and what was available to me, this fell into place where I could get it. And we had, I think, maybe 3 or 4 copies at the store that I was at while I was in there. And I was number 20 in line. So yeah. So if they put out more options where people could get, more copies, then it would eliminate a lot of stuff. People wouldn't have to worry about waiting in line, that they don't want to do. A lot of people want stuff just handed to them. They don't want to have to go wait for it and maybe not get it. That's the game where you got to play. You might not get it. And they can do things better to make that where you can have a good chance at getting it. Some people have said like, oh, well, they should let you order online the day of, and they do. They probably should have something in place like that, but I think they don't let you do that because they want people to go into the stores. Like when my store, every time they do it, they have some kind of sale, and which I think a lot of stores do. And like yesterday, they put out a bunch of boxes of records. Everything was $2 in the box, and they had some good stuff in there. I got 18 of them. Thought I had 20, but I got 18. And I got some good records, and most of them are in real good condition. I played a couple last night, and they sounded real good. There's a Monkees record that I bought, flawless. It was like brand new. I mean, it's just like a greatest hits, but nothing too special. But it played like it was brand new, and so. If I didn't go to the store, I wouldn't have bought that. Because there's, you want to support the store as well, so you go and buy other things besides the Record Store Day. And I think Record Store Day works with that, to do that, so that it makes people go to the store, it makes people find out there's something out there, and there are going to be people that just want the Taylor Swift album or whatever, whatever the super big hit is. But they printed 75,000 copies of that in the United States, and I've heard that they did another 75,000 around the world. So, that's a lot of people that could get that record. I don't think the Flippers are going to win on that one. I didn't look to see if it was online, but I think most stores had a lot of copies of it. I'm not saying everybody got it, but it's probably one that's going to be easier to get than some of the others. So Record Store Day provides a lot of albums that people have wanted for a long time, reissues on a lot of things, sometimes first time presses, because there was a dark period in the 90s where there wasn't a lot of records coming out, and even in the late 80s, I would say it was going away. So you had all that time, and even into the modern times, it's just starting in the last maybe 10 years where everything is coming out now on records. You don't get a release of an album usually without it having a CD, a vinyl version, and downloads or whatever. And some even are doing cassettes, which I'm not gonna go into cassettes, but that's available. So Record Store Day does a lot. I think they provide things to you that you couldn't get before. Some things never before. The only problem I really have is that the limited edition things are so limited and you can't always get them later. And so if that was, I think that would solve so much stuff if they just said there's no exclusive, just because they do exclusives and first. And if there are going to be exclusives that are never going to come out again, they need to have more numbers of them. They can't just say, oh, we're going to do this exclusive like that Randy Macho Man Savage thing. I don't know how many of those were, but they're not putting that out again. And it was super exclusive, and it said regional, but I don't know what regional means because a lot of stores got one copy of it. Well, you know what? I'm not into, listening to Randy Macho Man Savage sing, but there are a lot of wrestling fans that really wanted that, and they're not getting it. You look that one up on eBay, and it's over $200. Last night I saw some, and I just couldn't believe that that's what happened. People went out and bought that thing, took it away from a fan, and flipped it immediately to make a gold mine off of it. They sell that record, and they could buy all whatever the other records they wanted for, if they want a record store, they did. But most of those people don't even care about music. They just care to flip it to make money. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, because everybody's done it. They bought something at Goodwill or wherever, and then they put it on eBay or whatever and sold it for more money. But when you find it at Goodwill, it's been around forever. It's not something new straight off the shelf causing a fake what do you call it, interest in it, where it makes the value go way up even though it's not naturally there. If that makes any sense? Like if I take this Generation X and I put it on eBay, it cost me $28.99, but I put it on eBay for $75. Well, I inflated the value of that for $75, not by the rarity of it, just because I wanted to do it. And if somebody buys it, then everybody else says, oh, they bought it for $75, mine's $75. And it just keeps going like that. And then all of a sudden you've got this inflated price, but it never worked its way up there. And maybe that value drops down later. But as far as the ones I've seen, most of them don't go a lot lower than what you see in them for the high end anyway. The mid-range is, once it's opened, it goes back to pretty much a normal value as far as I can tell. Some of them are a little bit inflated, but not that much. But the unopened, untouched, whatever, they stay way high. I've got a bunch of them that are, that say they're like $100 or whatever, but they're not. They shouldn't be anyway. They shouldn't be that much. But that has nothing to do with the Record Store Day people that run the thing. It has to do with people, the humans that get involved, afterwards. So I don't know what we do to stop that. It's just the game. More records. That's all. If they put more out, we wouldn't have to fight over it so much, and the prices could go down. But the actual physical price on the records, that is determined. They come up with a price that they suggest, and the store can put whatever that price is up to, I think it's 10 or 15% above what they want, or I don't think they can go below the recommended price. I don't know exactly the rules on that, but the stores can't jack up the prices. If they do, they will lose their rights to get Record Store Day stuff, and a lot of stores don't want to do that because that's a big day for them. When all the at my store, it's not a big, it's a pretty big store, but it's not huge. But they had over 100 people in line by the time when I went in I had card number 20. Number 20 or 21 or whatever it was. I don't know. It was the number 21, but there was no 17, so I was actually number 20. But when I was going in, some people walked up and they were like, "We don't have any more numbers. We only had up to 100, but you're 101, 102, and 103." And he said, "Just remember that when I call, and we'll let you in." And so that I lost my train of thought there. I don't even know what I'm saying, guys. I'm so crazy right now. But anyway, you just gotta go out there and enjoy yourself and enjoy the music, and don't worry about if the price is too high. You don't have to buy everything. If you go there and you get one thing you want, it's kind of worth it. But you gotta want more than one thing. If you're this guy that says, "Oh, I only want the Taylor Swift album," well, you might not get it. You should have gotten it because there's a lot of copies, but you might not get it. Well, you got to give yourself another option if you're going to wait in line, because don't be number 103 in line expecting to get that. You got to get there early. And if everybody gets there early, then you're still going to be in the same situation, because you can only go so early. If you're sleeping out there, that's crazy. But there's nothing worth doing that. But waiting in line for an hour, 2 or 3 hours, not that bad. But give yourself options. If you're one of these guys that says, "Oh, there's nothing available. I don't like anything on there." Well, then what is your taste in music? I mean, because if you're one of these people that it's got to be like, because I know people like this that everything has to be amazing, or they don't want it. They don't want to listen to it. And I'm like, so that means it's not that it's that amazing. It's that you're being fed certain things. Like if somebody says, "Oh, I only like Metallica's Black Album." Well, that's the one that everybody knows, and it was so popular, but every song's a hit. Well, do you know anything that's not a hit that you might enjoy if you gave it a chance? And people don't want to give it a chance. So anyway, I'm rambling. I don't even know what I'm talking about, guys. It's almost 30 minutes of this video. I didn't expect it to go this long. So anyway, I have a bunch of Record Store Day stuff. I've only done it for the last couple years. I think maybe the beginning of the pandemic was the first one, or right before the pandemic. I think I bought some stuff that was from a previous one that I missed. I know there was like The Exploited had a live album that I bought, and I think there was a couple, maybe 2 or 3 other ones that I had just picked up that were still in the store. And I was trying to figure out what was this Record Store Day thing, because I've only been back into buying vinyl for probably 5 or 6 years, I guess. And it was weird because I never, like when I first started collecting music, is kind of when CDs and cassettes were the big thing. Cassettes first, then CDs. Vinyl was kind of on the back end, and I started collecting vinyl in the late '80s, and all of a sudden they were gone, and I was like, oh well, go back to CDs. But anyway, go support your stores if you can. Don't be the guy that, "Oh, I'm not gonna go do that. I'll go every day is Record Store Day." We know you love records. Go out and buy your records whenever you want. And if you don't like Record Store Day for whatever reason, politics, whatever, you think it's a ripoff, you think this and that, don't go and leave everybody else alone that wants to go, because it does bring in new fans to collecting. It brings in people that doesn't know about other things that you can maybe tell them in line. Hey, I think that the Pearl Jam live album is the greatest thing ever. You should check it out. And maybe when they get in the store, they say, "You know what, that guy said this was really good, and he seemed like he was really into it. Maybe I should try it." And then if he was behind you, you get to take it from him. Because, that might be the only one they have. But, just be nicer. That's all, Record Store Day is a good thing. I think it is. And that is the end of this video. I'm not going to go on anymore. Be nice to people online. You're not invincible. You wouldn't say that to somebody in front of their face. Some of the things that people say, don't say it to them online either. Unless you're, you think you're gonna say that in real life, but most people wouldn't. Some of the things I see, some of the things people have told me about whatever, just ridiculous. So anyway, that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys later. No more Record Store Day talk for a while. And that's it. Talk to you guys later.